toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
And he's wearing pants, ladies and gentlemen. That's pre-show gold. Hey, it's been a long time, feels like, since we did it. We took last week off. Sorry that we didn't tell you.
But we're going to talk about...
I think we mentioned it at the end of the last show that we were taking a week off, but...
See, I have a rule. I don't say when I'm away, and I don't post shit on social media when I'm away.
That's actually a very, very good rule.
And I understand that. I
you had people
didn't
home,
follow
so it
that
was okay.
rule this time around, but my house wasn't empty either. Not all of us went.
So it's fine.
So if my house would have got broken into, my son Brandon would have been here to defend all my stuff. Or say, take it! Take it all!
Take it. Yeah, exactly. So, but... Yeah, Barry and I were actually in the same place, but not necessarily at the same time. We were both in California, and more on that later.
Yeah.
And Todd did some cool stuff, too.
Yes, he did.
We all did cool stuff. So we'll talk about all that stuff. But hey, follow us on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. You'll see, go to our website, regularjoes.com. Oh, you want to know something? Next week... thank you all for submitting the code word for the glass giveaway, and I have to pick a person, and there's a number of you, so I will pick somebody.
All right, so next week we'll announce the winner of that one next week.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and go to the website and you'll see all the pictures and stuff we're talking about, right?
And there should be a lot of pictures for this week's episode because we saw some cool stuff.
Exactly.
Yep, there'll be galleries.
So. Gallery. There will be a gallery. I have to upload my pictures. I don't even know. They're on various machines, so I'll have to do that. Why don't we go some random? Am I forgetting anything? Do I normally do something else?
No, this is pretty much
I think this is
it?
Proper order of sequence of things for the show. It's all good.
Okay, good. Todd, what do you got?
Okay, two things that are coming. One I'm kind of looking more forward to. They announced a premiere date for The Watchmen on HBO, and that is October 20th. That continues to be very interesting to me. I'm a big Watchmen fan, and in I guess both of its previous incarnations, so we will see where this goes. But it's coming soon. The other thing, this is really interesting. I've kind of been following the progress of the New Mutants movie, and it's been fascinating. It comes out right now, April 3rd, which is its third release date. There's now reports claiming that they have removed all references to mutants and the X-Men from New Mutants. And
so it's new ...
Are they changing the title?
Not changing the title, but apparently they don't know they're mutants. No one really explains they're mutants. And
this doesn't sound like a train wreck at all.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The thought is if this is successful, as unlikely as that is, now that this is owned by Marvel, they may look at this, Kevin Feige may look at this as a gateway into introducing mutants and the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not referencing anything that's gone before gives them the ability to to have these be mutants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very unlikely, in my opinion.
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yeah.
It sounds like it also gives them the ability to completely
deny it
it
ever existed.
if it's terrible, and then introduce mutants their own way.
Yep, Barry, that's exactly where I was going. No, those weren't really mutants. But I mean, it
sounds like they have too much money into it to just completely shelve it. So
yes.
They
talked about this being sold to a streaming service at one point, but it's these characters kind of inexorably tied to the X-Men universe. I mean, one of them is Peter Rasputin Colossus's sister. Okay, it's yeah. Anyways, we will see, but I it's kind of a slow motion train wreck, and I'm now fascinated by watching it.
I'm still saying it's 50-50 whether this thing ever actually comes out.
And Barry, I am totally with you on that. I think it's also possible.
It's a Marvel. Maybe it'll be on Disney Plus.
They've got months to figure out whether they really want to release it.
Do either of you know what happens when they just don't release a film that's scheduled? Does something else? I mean, like, what was the Hunt, the really oddly timed film, which basically had, I guess, affluent people hunting poor people, which they decided tastefully
cool.
not to release because of mass shootings that occurred that same weekend. Yeah, what happens? Do they
do you remember that movie?
Do they just run
they
more
just
showings?
pull it from the schedule. But do you remember when that Seth Rogen movie a couple years back? It was Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I forget the exact title of it, but
The
Dictator or something.
Yep.
The Interview.
Yep.
The Interview. Yes. They pulled it, and then when the dust settled, they put it out on home video or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking more a matter of what like theaters do, whether they just
if there's unless they're pulling it at the last minute, that's fine. They'll just keep it.
They'll just add more showings of something else or keep something else in longer. A movie like that would have only been on screens for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks anyway.
Yeah. I think in the old days when stuff would run 2 months, it would have been a bigger issue.
and you were much less likely to have multiplexes.
Yeah. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
That's what I got.
So.
Dave, what do you got?
Barry, what do you got before you disappear on us?
So my main thing really, and this is not so much a random topic, but for any keen-eared listeners to the podcast, I just thought it was worth mentioning that starting with episode 300, I did make a new version of the intro to the podcast. What I think is noteworthy about it, or at least worth pointing out, is that I went back to the original arrangement of the intro. So, anyway, for people like me, I find it interesting. Maybe nobody else even noticed, but there is a new version, and it is more like the original version from back on episode 1. So,
all right. So I think we mentioned that show on Netflix, Another Life. Barry, you said you watched like 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, that's all I've gotten through. And it's not that I didn't like it; I just haven't had a time to go back to it.
Yeah, I watched it, and I sort of. I definitely am out of things to watch, so I watched it, and I just finished it. The first couple episodes are interesting, but I would say that's a pass.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Yeah. Dave, did you try Pennyworth?
I have not.
Seriously, try it. It's after The Boys. It's my favorite thing this summer.
Really?
I think
a bold statement.
I got to say, no one's going to find this show because it's on Epix. They've done such a great job. I mean, they set this in the 1960s. They capture that era perfectly. And this guy, Jack Bannon, O'Bannon, who's playing young Alfred Pennyworth, is pretty much channeling young Michael Caine, and in every possible good way. And it's really, really good. Unfortunately, I think most people are just not going to see it. It may get some streaming pickup later, but it's really good. And there's been some stuff in this that I just watched this and I've been like, that is awesome. That's exactly something you would see in a movie of this era. And,
yeah, I'm still out of stuff, so I'll try that.
There's one scene,
this
isn't even really a spoiler, but there's one scene where they've got to, a plane's got to land, and the generator that has, that controls the landing lights gets intentionally shot out by the people who don't want the plane to land. He gets in a truck, he punctures the fuel tanks on the side of the truck, drives the truck to the end of the runway, drives the truck back to the far end of the runway, okay, until it basically runs out of fuel, and then lights it on fire, and it makes this big U around the runway, and the plane, this big burning U, and it's just like stuff like this. It's just really cool, and it's not like, again, they're playing within the technology of the times and stuff like this, and it's like I'm totally eating it up. So, yep.
I'll have to check that out. Also, I think what do we call it? Robin show. Doesn't that start or did? Or?
No, it's coming soon. They just released character posters, which Starfire looks much better. You're talking about
good.
Titans, right?
Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's October.
Oh, it is? Someone said it was this month.
Is that right? It could be. But Starfire looks much better. They got her out of the kind of hooker outfit, and the and Raven has a very Raven-looking outfit on, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
Still, like, no pictures of. I think all the pictures we've seen of Dick Grayson so far have been flashbacks. And so,
it actually starts
September 6th. That's great.
September 6th.
So that's fantastic. I'm psyched.
That's
Yeah.
the same day that this episode drops.
Yeah.
There
So
you go.
There you go. Go
have
check
to
it
choose
out.
between the two. Listen to us first, and then watch this.
Yes.
I'm
No
psyched.
spoilers.
Hawk
me
and
too.
the Dove are back. Looks really good. But yeah, but again, all the pictures they show of Dick Grayson are either in civvies or they're flashbacks of him in a Robin costume.
Interesting.
Which is kind of interesting. So I don't know when we're going to see Nightwing, and I'm also starting to wonder because 2 or 3 times a Nightwing movie has been teased. I'm wondering whether like rights are tied up or something.
Jeez.
So
What else is new with that? Anyway, we'll see. We'll check it out.
So
There you go.
since Todd's wearing a Skynet T-shirt, did
Yes.
either of you watch the new trailer for Dark Fate?
How new?
Came out like a week ago.
No.
Yeah, it's looking a little better, but boy, I'm the target demo for this movie, and it's just not like inspiring me to want to go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You are the target demo, I think, because you were the official designated apologist for the last one.
I'm willing to always be optimistic, and
Yeah.
I'm the target demo for that movie.
Yeah, they like people who think crap is good, so you are the target demo.
No, see, listen, I would
thought we were
argue
being-
that.
Wait a minute. I thought we were being kinder post 300.
Yeah, and I would
Barry
argue
was being angry.
I don't say crap is good. I'm just hopeful when a new thing comes out that it won't be crap, and I go see it, I pay my money, and then I get disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what's not disappointing?
Never.
Fanboy
Fanboy Collectibles.
Never disappointing. A lot of cool stuff. Lots of Diamond and DC statues. If you're into that stuff, check that out. There's a lot of cool ones. There's John Wick statues. Everyone needs John Wick statues. There's a bunch of pops. There's a Namor pop, which you don't see every day. There's Sideshow, and there's Hot Toys, and there's, like I said, pops and statues and everything.
Oh, one
Check
of
them
my
out online,
pre-orders is in.
fanboycollectibles.com.
I guess I wasn't
What?
paying it. One of my pre-orders in. I should have been paying attention to my email. So, very cool.
Okay. Todd's buying everything, so get there before he does.
That's right.
And check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okay, let's go. Let's before we jump into our travelogues, let's talk about. Oddly enough, when I went to, we both went to California. I went to Anaheim and then worked my way up the coast to San Francisco. Barry went to LA and then down to Anaheim, but I was there when D23 was happening, and I was literally staying at a convention hotel that's connected to the convention center. I didn't see anything. Tickets were sold out. I didn't go, but like the day before I was going, they announced all the Marvel Disney stuff, and everybody was there. So
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone, but everyone was there. I think. Let's not get into a whole discussion about this, but they announced officially the Obi-Wan.
They did. They confirmed
TV
what
show,
we
'cause we had
all
talked
knew
about
was
it, but it
going to
wasn't
be
official
announced.
yet.
Yeah.
And then they also had I don't know what they call it, teaser. It's not a trailer, something for episode 9.
Yep.
Which is now out there available. That was the whole cast was there.
And they
Something
dropped a
they
full
showed.
trailer for Mandalorian as well.
Yeah. So they did a lot, but the episode 9 trailer is interesting.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really interesting was right after they showed the footage at D23, they released it to the internet and they put it on StarWars.com with a description, and the description originally said, it was a long description, but one of the lines said, "The vision of a ray with a reticulated red blade was nothing short of thrilling." They immediately, or almost immediately, rewrote that copy and republished it to say, "The sight of Ray with a reticulated blade was nothing short of thrilling." So it originally said "vision of a ray," and they changed it to "sight of
What
Ray."
do you mean a ray? Like of a
ray,
an alternate universe, or a alternate reality,
or a clone, or something. It was of a
please
ray.
Don't do clones.
Well, I have a feeling, some way or another, we're seeing clones in this thing, because that was the Emperor.
I think it is like a alternate. Like if things had gone the other way, she sees like a vision of what, you see what I'm saying? What she would have been if she'd gone dark.
That could be too. But it was interesting that was on
C-3PO
that was on StarWars.com, and they within a few hours they rewrote it.
But fits in a vision of a ray. If it's an alternate, again, it's Luke in the cave with the helmet on. Okay, same thing. It's a force vision of what could have been had she gone the other way.
Yeah. So I actually
and Palpatine might be putting that in their head. I bet that's exactly what it is.
Or they could. This is crazy. They could be on Dagobah and she could be in the cave. Who knows?
Yeah. Did somebody made a little animated GIF that's posted online everywhere with the Sith army knife? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Just great, absolutely great.
I put a couple screen captures of the trailer in the Dropbox if you guys want to look at it. But some of the things that you only see if you really either freeze frame it or go slow. When she's throwing the lightsaber, there's actually a training remote, like the one that Luke used on the Falcon, visible for like a split second in the scene. So I thought that was really cool. The scene where she and Kylo are fighting is clearly on a remnant of the Death Star, because you can see the Death Star
it
turrets.
Does look that way, yep.
Or something similar to a Death Star anyway, because it's got those turrets that the Death Star had. And then the scene of the Star Destroyers, those are Empire Strikes Back era Star Destroyers. Those aren't the ones that we've been seeing in the modern movies. And it's interesting because they don't look like they're in any kind of formation. It almost looks like it's a parking lot of Star Destroyers. I thought it would look really cool, but I like that she's using a training remote similar to the one that Luke used.
Yeah. Or someone's using one of those to spy on her, or... Yeah.
No, it's a training remote. She's clearly training in that sequence. She's throwing...
You think so?
Yeah, she's throwing lightsabers through trees, and she's training. But I loved it. I mean, it got me excited again. Not that I need to be reminded that I'm hopeful that this is a good movie, but I thought it was a really good, for the little bit of new footage that they showed, and there was some new dialogue there by the Emperor too, in the voiceover.
I would bet that there is, sitting somewhere in space, is a whole crap of Star Destroyers that have been sitting there for 30 years since the Empire collapsed, and he's just going to call them back.
Cool. I mean, there's always been speculation that the Emperor had a plan B. So, well,
here he is.
Yeah. It involved not being thrown into a pit.
Yeah, but assuming that that didn't all go well, he's the type of guy. Especially, I mean, not that any of it's canon. If you read, any of the novels, especially the Plagueis novel, but he always was thinking 5 steps ahead. So, why wouldn't he have something in reserve somewhere?
Well, which is interesting because we've talked about him being a clone. And would that make there be a clone of her? I really hope they don't do that.
They're
I
not
don't want to
going
see
there.
Rey fight Rey.
They did that
I don't want
in
to
the
see
novels.
that.
They did that in the comics, and it wasn't received really well.
What if she's a clone of Luke, though? What if she's made from Luke's DNA? His hand is out there somewhere. They got his lightsaber. They must have had the hand. I don't know. I mean, anything's possible.
How would Rey be a clone of Luke's hand and then be bad?
The Emperor could have. I mean, and I know you didn't watch the Clone Wars, Dave, but in the Clone Wars, the Emperor on Mustafar had a cloning facility. He was cloning little Sith babies.
Boys, JJ, You're our only hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's up with C-3PO's eyes being red?
That's what I said. We just said that maybe just like her, like this is how it could have gone.
Yeah.
Actually not.
Even C-3PO
It's actually
was
not
bad.
C-3PO. It's in fact it hasn't been in this whole modern series. It's actually 000 with plating.
In disguise.
Yep. So
Interesting. Oh boy, please don't mess this up.
No, I'm
trust JJ.
just so eagerly, hoping that they don't mess this up.
yeah.
I know. Now it's like I'm eagerly waiting. Oh my god, for the greatest movie ever. No, I'm eagerly waiting that they don't
but
mess
think,
this
think
up.
about this now. Boy, this is gonna sound weird coming from me, but we felt the same way with Episode 7. Okay, we were. Please don't let this be bad. And I do
Not as much.
now-
I trusted JJ.
Okay,
back then.
but again, well,
I still do.
some of us, I will say, then
I'm still here. by
had
the way.
serious concerns about Episode 7 before it happened, whether they could recapture the magic. And I feel that they did. I feel that they, again, I think they took a lot of ridiculously safe choices, but I feel they did. But tonally, they got it right and all that. I think he can I think he can get the ship back on course. Can he fix the big hole in the side of it? That's the question.
Yeah, and I know I've said this before, but like this is not a franchise where I need them to take big risks. I'm okay with them playing it somewhat safe and giving me a satisfying movie. I don't need a huge twist to make me enjoy this movie.
I'm with you.
Me too. And really, that's what he's just got to do. He's got to land the plane. So, could I work? Hold on. Let me just try to work in another metaphor here. It's probably travel related. Okay, because the last one was a train
JJ,
wreck.
we trust.
The last one was a train wreck. So he's got to land the plane and get the ship back on course. That's good.
There we go. Okay, so let us know your thoughts on any of that stuff. Okie dokie. So, while we were both at in Anaheim, we went to Disneyland. It is called Disneyland there, and we both went to Galaxy's Edge, which was something that. And if my wife's listening, that's not why we planned that trip. It just happened to be something that worked out.
And if my wife is listening, I completely hoodwinked the entire family into a trip to California just so I could go to Galaxy's Edge.
Fair enough.
And they all know it, so it's fine.
So we
That's
haven't
fine,
talked
but,
about this at all. We haven't discussed this other than
No,
other than
even Dave and I really haven't talked much to each other about it.
So a few pictures that you guys texted, which were cool and made me jealous. So a lot's been written about this, obviously.
Yeah.
And it is now officially open in both parks.
Yes.
It's in Disney
Yes, it
World
opened
as of last
week
weekend as well.
in Florida.
Yep. So I guess my first question for you guys is, did it meet your expectations? Did this meet the hype? Was this what you were? Because we've been talking about when they first announced it. Overall impressions.
You know, it's funny because I did read a lot too, and the reading it doesn't do the place justice because you really can't get the sense of what it is. You know, my answer will be different than Barry's answer, and you could figure out did it meet the hype? Yeah. I mean, it did. There's a lot. It's totally immersive. There's a lot of cool stuff. I almost feel like, from what they've sort of scaled back on the, we are going to be in this world, and not any actor is going to totally be method acting and not deviate from that. I hear that's what it was like the first couple months. I feel like they sort of went away from that a little. So that would have been cooler, but
It's not like visiting
it
one of
was
those
pretty-
colonial villages or something like that. Where
And I don't think
Yeah.
that they did that at all. My experience might have been different than yours, but everybody was in character. You couldn't get them to break character.
oh no, I agree with that. I'm not saying, but there used to be in the beginning. So one of the coolest things, I don't know, is they have a build your own lightsaber thing. Supposedly in the first like month or so, they wouldn't even let you know where this place was. You sort of had to ask around, and it was a secret. When I went there, I'm like, you know anything about lightsabers? And the guy's like, yeah, it's right over there. There you go. Just sign up at the cash register.
yeah.
See, and my experience
that's
was
like the official Disney motto now. But
My experience on that was a little different, though. I mean, you had to make a reservation, so you did have there was a little bit of that. But with us, at least, they would only refer to it as a junk shop if there were any first order troopers anywhere in the area. So they would like look around and make sure there were no Imperials there before they would ever say the word lightsaber. So like they kept talking, it was all about the scrap metal that they had in there. And when we were there, right in front of them, that shop, Kylo Ren came by, and there were stormtroopers that came by, and they would like kind of almost go hide. Like they really wouldn't talk about it being the build your lightsaber thing unless they knew the area was clear. I don't know if you got any of that, but
I didn't get that. Maybe it's different people's, involvement in how much they want to.
I think Dave looks a little bit more like a rebellion member, and I think he was received differently than you. I think you probably just kind of convey that kind of corporate thing a little bit more, and people are looking at you and say possibly first order. So
because while we were waiting, there were people that came up and said, "Is this the build your own lightsaber place?" And they were like, "Lightsaber? What is this?" No, this is a junk shop, and it was kind of a wink thing.
Oh
so.
yeah, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm glad they did that. I guess it's depending on who it is, but that thing is funny, and a lot of people said, "Oh, that's one of the best things there." I even ran into Andy from the Star Wars autograph group at the airport, and he's like, "Make sure you build a lightsaber." I gotta say, that was awesome.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I know our sons were texting each other, and Mark had texted Joshua and said, "You have to build a lightsaber. It's really cool."
Yeah.
We did, and I let Josh build it. I just kind of went in and watched him do it. But that was a really cool experience because yes, you're building a lightsaber, but the way that they do it, and it's all keyed to music and lighting, and the lighting changes based on the part of the story that they're weaving, and it's about a 20-minute from end to end thing. It's not like a workshop where you walk in, pick the parts, build your lightsaber, and leave. There's a story element to it, so it's more of an experience than just a quick thing.
So really, the only frame of references I have was the old like build a puppet thing at FAO. So I'm not going to comment.
But I gotta say, and I know everyone's like, "Oh, Disney's ripping you off, and everything is expensive." I gotta say, for $200 plus tax, you are basically building a customized Force Effects lightsaber, which literally is very customized. You could pick 4 different models, and every one of those models has probably 10 configurations or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Each piece that you get to pick from, there's like 4 choices for each piece. So there were a lot of combination possibilities, and I looked around the room, and I don't think anybody built anything that resembled each other. Like everybody kind of
that's really cool.
Customized and picked their own
because
thing.
A Force Effects lightsaber these days probably, or whatever they call them now, it's probably $150.
It is, and it's a lot of plastic. I don't know about the one that you guys built. The one that Josh built is all metal. It's
totally
heavy
all metal.
as hell and really well made. So
and then they give you on the way out a whole lightsaber sling that you can carry it around the park in a bag that you can also check on the plane. That's all padded. They really thought all that out.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
really
you're getting
good.
all that for your $200, which, again, I agree with you. It's not cheap, and it's in addition to your park passes and everything else. So you're kind of making a commitment when you go there that if you're going to do it, it's expensive. But what you're getting,
it's not. I don't think it was outrageous.
No, and I think that the value for what you're getting is there. You're right. If you would go and buy one of those Force Effects lightsabers that they sell, they're at least $150 now, I think, probably. So, and I think these are better. I think these are probably better than the ones I've seen of those. So,
and you could change out. They all have a kyber crystal that everyone knows powers a lightsaber. You can, of course, buy extra ones that will switch the color of the lightsaber, which is pretty cool.
The first thing that they do when you get there is they ask you to pick your model, and then they give you a pin that's associated with the model you pick that the builder has to wear, and that's how they know which tray to give you of which parts you're going to pick from. But with that, you have to pick which color kyber crystal you want, and then that's the color that your lightsaber ultimately lights up. And then you can go into the gift shop, essentially, or the trading post or whatever, and you can buy other colors. So we ended up buying, I think, 4 extra colors because Josh wanted to be able to swap out the colors, and each one of them has slightly different sounds based on the color, and it lights up the blade a different color.
So can you do this and then not buy it when you're done, or it's just
No.
Oh, okay. So it really is a retail thing. It's not.
You've paid.
It's a
you've
retail
paid
thing.
before you
The
go
only
in.
thing is, like, going back, I would love to see it again, but
That was
you
my
gotta-
question. Could you go through like
Yeah.
3 or 4 times and then say, no, this
You
is the
can't.
one? Okay.
no.
Yeah.
No, but what is
It's
cool
not
is that it's not one of those things where they say, "Oh, only the people that paid can come in." So, like, if you're with somebody, like I paid for Joshua to do it, but I got to go in and experience it with them, and I think you can bring 2 or 3 people with you.
You originally, someone had said that you could only bring, like, Brian Mix went a few months ago. You were only allowed to bring one other person. They let both Pam and I in. So
Yeah,
it was
and
fine.
there were
So
some
it was-
people in there that had like 3 people with them. So
pretty
Yeah,
much Padawan Master, and that's just it. It's just
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
but I will
Okay,
agree.
that was one thing, but that was very immersive and very, like, there was a whole story, so that was cool.
And the fact that it was keyed to with music, and then they had Yoda's voice at one point talking to you, and even the way that they revealed the lightsabers. I mean, I don't want to give
Which
the whole
that
thing
was
away, but-
that gave me the chills.
Yeah,
honestly.
it really was, because they have you build the hilt. You don't build it with the blade on it. And then they have you insert it into this slot, and everybody's got the slot. And then all at once, the doors open, and they all light up at the same time.
There are
and-
these electronic doors that are these long sort of cylinders, and they almost like a sleep chamber, but small. They open up all at the same time electronically, and the lightsabers are all there, and then you pull it out and light them up. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
cool.
pretty amazing.
That's cool.
So I would agree that was a highlight. I didn't do
was
the
definitely
build a
a highlight.
droid thing. It's building like a 6 or 12-inch tall robot that's phone app controlled, and I didn't do that one.
Okay.
I didn't know how much was that.
I think it's 100.
I mean, that's sort of the interactive R2D2 that you could buy, or you could have
Yeah,
bought a
I
couple
mean the
years
difference
ago.
is
What
you
was
get
that,
to
like $50
customize it, but that to me wasn't nearly as interesting.
No, and that was an interesting place, and you could build either an R2 or a BB-8 in all different colors. I think that's fine for younger kids or something.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, but then all the stores and all the everything is they're sort of separated between the Resistance side and the First Order side. So there's like a First Order store, there's a Resistance store, then there's a whole little sort of alleyway that's got all different little shops and stuff on it. It really did a good job building the whole place out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that so one of the, and we didn't talk about the Falcon yet, and we'll talk about the Falcon.
Yeah,
No,
that
we'll
was
get
going to
there.
be my next question. But
One
let me
of the
just-
things that I would say though is that one of the things that I maybe didn't like about it as much as I would have liked to is it was almost they've created a story for this area, and it's almost too much in story, in character, and I would have liked it to maybe be a little bit more broad and covering the full range of Star Wars and all of that. It's very, very tied into this happens.
Black Spire Outpost.
That's
Yes.
that's what struck me as that had not occurred to me from what I'd seen. So clearly, this is tied to the current trilogy, right? Timing wise, because of the First Order and stuff.
It's sort of an offshoot of it because this place doesn't exist in the movies.
No, but what I'm saying is timing-wise, because it's First Order.
In canon and in continuity, there's a novel that's out now
Right.
about Black Spire
Right.
Outpost.
and it is you're right. It is First Order.
And that's
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying.
all
So it's
First
First Order, in which we've seen 3 lightsabers, right? In this current trilogy, we've seen 3 lightsabers.
Yep.
And so that's interesting that
doesn't
lightsabers
mean
are
that
that
the people
much
in
a
the
part of it.
That doesn't mean the people in the past don't exist. They mention,
No, and this takes place
Luke.
between The Last Jedi. I mean, it's hard to say the words out loud that a land in Disneyland takes place in between Episode 8 and 9. But that's where they told us, and we were told by people that work there that that's where this thing exists in the timeline, at least for now.
Which is why I'm saying I'm wondering if this is a little
This
bit
is
of
as
a
the
spoiler.
Resistance is rebuilding itself.
Right. I wonder if there's a little bit of spoiler in that whether we're going to see an emergence of what was the Jedi Order possibly renamed the Skywalkers or something like that in this next film that this will play into.
I think that may be pushing it. I think they just need to sell lightsabers.
But again, like I said, lightsabers are not hugely prominent in these films. So
no, but they did make it was definitely, once he got in there, it was like, this is a secret thing, and we're trying to build up our ranks. Yeah. I mean, I think I can't believe it's all tried to be.
No, and I'm hopeful that after Episode 9 comes out, that maybe they'll feel a little bit more comfortable broadening it to incorporate more things.
Right.
Well, the interesting thing is that there was basically one ride. There's the Falcon ride, which we'll get into. But then the next ride that's not open yet is Rise of the Resistance.
Yep.
Right? That's a different ride. So,
and they just did a press thing for Disney World where when it opened, or a couple days before it opened, they brought a whole press junket through there. And they actually let those press members go through that ride, even though it's not ready yet. So some of it they actually got to experience the full effect of what that ride's going to be. And some of it they were told, use your imagination, this is what's going to happen here. But there's been write-ups.
Did you go over to it?
No.
Because there's, like I said before, there's sort of a First Order store, and then the Rebels more have a little bit of a kiosk. It's right in front of.
Yeah, I went there. I saw
place.
that, but I didn't go down the path or anything.
No, you couldn't anyway.
I was in that area, but that ride sounds like it's going to be, if they pull it off the way that all these press articles that I've read said they're pulling it off, it sounds like that's going to be like the greatest thing that Disney's ever done, but we'll see.
We'll see about that.
So the Falcon,
because it's like three rides in one. It's like a 20-minute long experience. That Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
The Falcon is what everyone seems to be gaga about. How was that?
The Falcon itself is amazing. It's literally the Falcon parked in the docking bay, full size.
And when I came around the corner and saw it, I literally teared up. No joke.
The number of pictures online of people posing in front of that, like you sent, Dave, will like rival the Eiffel Tower at some point.
It's crazy how they built it.
It's unbelievable.
I have no idea how they built that thing.
It is unbelievable to see it in person.
Full size, lights, and
so it's you can walk. Can you walk all the way around the thing, or is it?
You can walk all the way around from the two round ports on either side. From side to side, you can walk around it, and then as you walk the queue for the ride, you actually get to see the back of it, and then you go up a flight of stairs, and you actually see the top of it.
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
you pretty much see the whole thing.
Position the ride line to soak it all in,
because everybody takes very similar pictures of it. I was concerned that it was like a facade or something. That was
there's just a really good couple of spots in front of it where you get the best pictures, and that's why I think you're seeing all those
that makes
pictures.
sense. Oh, that's really cool.
And it's the Force Awakens version.
Yes,
because it's got
so it has
square
it has the wrong dish on it. If it only had a round dish, it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
So but it was, and look, I know a little bit about the Falcon, having built it, and they got it all right. I mean, I was like looking for where they might have gotten it wrong, and I couldn't find anything that was out of place.
Really, it's crazy how they. I don't even know how they're making the parts for this thing. I know they do make it for the movie, but it was crazy. They did an amazing job,
and the way they've got the place set up. There are multiple entrances into Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
But either way you come in, you kind of go through a transitionary area where you really feel like you're leaving Disneyland and going into another place. And it's built up the way the rock faces are all built up. Once you're in there, you can't see any other parts of the park.
That's great. So, that's the way it should be. That's excellent.
So depending on which way you come in, you either come in on the side that's closer to the Falcon and you get to see it sooner, or you come in on the Rebels side or the Resistance side.
You literally can come in through like a valley, then walk through the bazaar, the market, and then come through a restaurant, and then you're at it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the people that we were with were like, are you Resistance or are you First Order? And that was like, they were like trying to help me understand which side I should go in, because you do get a different experience the first time you kind of walk in and see the place. So it was from that perspective, it was pretty cool. And I think Dave and I agree on this because we did text a little bit about it. My perspective is that so the environment and seeing the Falcon and all of that, I think, is a better experience than the ride itself.
Yeah.
The ride is okay.
Now, we had a different experience. I had to wait online for the ride, and I've been marking the time for a month and a half. We got there, it was about an hour wait. Now, they're not really designed for that much. They sort of opened up new waiting areas, and you are in the blazing sun for at least half of that wait. So that was sort of a drag. And then once you get inside, it's fine. But the ride is okay. It's not great.
It's a high-end, top of the line experience type ride, and it's fun. And how many times did you end up riding it, Dave?
2.
Okay. Yeah, I did it a couple times as well. And depending on where you sit, there's a front row, a middle row, and a back row. And the front row are the pilots, the middle row are the gunners, and the back row are the engineers. And everybody actually participates. It's not just like Star Tours where you sit there and it happens. You're actually, the people that are piloting
hit some buttons and stuff.
Are flying the ship, and you have a direct impact on the success of the mission. You can crash the Falcon and the ride ends earlier. You can fly it well and the ride goes actually a little bit longer. Part of the story of the ride, and this I think is for me where some of this fails, and I'll get into that in a minute. You're basically trying to. It's almost like scenes out of Solo. You're following a train and trying to get coaxium from the train. And then if you're successful, you can get either 1, 2, or 3 things of coaxium. The better you do, the more coaxium you get, the better you do. And while you're doing that, somebody's flying, somebody's shooting at things, and then the engineers are fixing the Falcon as you damage it. So you've got to push buttons, or if you're piloting, literally got to move levers up and down and go to hyperspace, and then the gunners are having to mash buttons to try to shoot things. So you're not just watching the ride, you're participating, but that actually in a lot of ways takes away from you being able to watch the ride and experience it.
But the story itself and the actual motion control or motion is not great. I think the Star Tours sort of the whole ride itself is a little better. I mean, it's just
and here's
the story
where I
could be
think
way better.
They made the biggest mistake in all of Galaxy's Edge. And Todd will understand this because he's seen Clone Wars and Rebels. The story is based around Hondo and Naka. So Hondo is the guy that is managing the Falcon or managing this mission to go get the coaxium. He borrows you as the crew are borrowing the Falcon from Chewbacca to go get the coaxium from Solo. So, none of this is tied into either Episode 7 and 8 or original trilogy or whatever. It's tied into the Clone Wars and Rebels and Solo. And those aren't the most successful things in the franchise. So a lot of people are going to be walking in. They have the most amazing animatronic Hondo and Naka you've ever seen, Todd. It's lifelike.
That's cool.
But most people don't know who the hell it is. So,
did you ride different colors?
Yes.
So, I went on once, and then Mark and I went on single rider because we waited like 5 minutes to go on single rider. That's the way to do it. And we were on different. The story's the same on all the colors.
Oh yeah.
Not like how in Star Tours you get a different combination of things every time you go.
The colors are only there because
same story.
You enter the cockpit through the same door, but that then moves, and then there's another door. So the colors are just so that they know which Falcon to put you in, which cockpit. But that
was
the other thing that we should mention. You've got the exterior of the Falcon, which is unbelievable, and then they've recreated the interior, which is also unbelievable. I mean, you're in the cargo area, you're seeing the dejeric table, you're seeing the hyperspace station. All that stuff is there, and you can sit and take pictures and.
That's sort of the best part. You go from waiting online to be like, okay, you are the next 25 people to go into the 6 different or 7 different little rooms. but you have maybe 3 to 5 minutes of waiting time. You're better off skipping your ride and waiting in the waiting room and really investigating.
It's pretty amazing.
I wonder if you can
actually
pry up the deck plates and hide till the ride's over and just play. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the course of the couple times I rode it, I got to like sort of explore that whole area a little bit, and not even as much as I wanted to. And at one point while we were waiting in there, a siren goes off and there's a red light flashing on the wall, and the guy goes, "Who wants to be the hero?" And he actually pointed at me, and you have to go over and hit the red button and it restarts the Falcon. So they've even built little things into that waiting area. Look, you guys know I'm a huge Falcon fan, and that to me was the greatest thing in the world. To see it from the exterior, to see it from the interior, way better for me than the actual, couple minutes of each ride that I went on. I think I did it
I agree with that.
3 times. I think I did.
I would have rather sat in the cockpit for a few minutes and just really explored it than have to go on a ride.
That's the thing. Once you get inside, it starts up, and there's no time to really look around and soak it all in. And I actually found that the third time I rode it, I was in the last row in the mechanic's seat, and I enjoyed it there the most because I was really able to take in the whole experience of it sitting further back. When I was in the front piloting, I almost feel like I missed half the ride.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So in terms of other things, other noteworthy things that might not have gotten as much attention, because those are two things that the build a lightsaber thing and the Falcon things tend to be the things that people talk most about. Do you each have a thing that was surprising to you, or you just found really interesting?
There was like a land speeder, like little used car lot.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That was there with like two layers of just, it didn't do anything. It was just there.
It's just part of the environment.
But they had
and the land speeder's floating.
Land speeders.
And it's floating. I mean, it appears to be, there's nothing under it that you can see visibly.
That's awesome.
It just appears to be floating.
Yeah.
There are droids everywhere. It's almost too jam-packed with stuff. Like, you go into the main shop, which I think is
kind of like the remastered editions. Essentially, they just crammed a bunch.
It's like overload. You go into Doc Ondor's, which is the main shop, and the floor level, ground level, is all the stuff you can buy. But there's all the stuff up a second level up, and the walls are just covered. I mean, and that's really where the only places that you get original trilogy feel is by the stuff that's hanging on the wall. There's the Vibra axes that the Gamorrean guards held, and there's droid heads, and there's helmets, and I
didn't even notice on that. There's a little balcony that you can't go there. There's a full size Wampa up there. I didn't notice that until the second time.
There's a Wampa up there. There's a IG-88 droid full size up there, painted in the Clone Wars paint. You told me to look for this, Dave, and then I did. If you go into a little corner and you look up just from that one corner, you can see the corner of the Ark of the Covenant hidden up there. So that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
an Easter egg. That's awesome.
There's probably a ton more Easter. I'm sure I didn't look online because I didn't want to dig into it, but there's a bunch of Easter eggs.
There's a water
sounds
fountain.
like a kind of experience thing where you're better off just kind of absorbing it as you walk around.
Yeah,
I think walking around in that area for a couple of hours is time better spent than waiting an hour online to ride the Falcon.
So other than the lightsabers you assembled, what did you bring back?
You want to go first? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
So let me turn my camera back on. Hopefully this works. So some simple things, and we didn't even talk about the cantina. But
we went to let's talk about the cantina first. So you got to make reservations and you can go to the cantina. It's very much set up like the cantina, just I think bigger, or I guess maybe not bigger, but just differently set up.
Yeah,
with a lot of bar space.
The bar is in the middle, and it's got all the IG-88 heads and pipe work, just like the Mos Eisley cantina did. And then there's tables around that you can stand at, and then there's booths around the outside. And they basically assign you a spot. So they assigned us a spot at a table. We didn't get to sit in a booth. I don't know what you guys got, but
we sat at the bar. We stood at the bar.
Okay.
I mean, they're like, you can only spend 45 minutes in there because we were there like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we were there more than 25 minutes either.
It's cool to look at. The drinks are overpriced and not great. But again, it was cool, and I don't feel like it was as if you could wander in there and sort of just do your own thing and then leave. It'd be better than the whole wait online, stand here, order your drink. It would have been cooler than...
They hand you a menu, you pick your drink, they charge you right away because they don't want... Nobody can run a tab, which is fine.
This is a replica of the menu. So there's drinks here.
So was anyone blasted or dismembered while you were there?
I didn't see any of that.
No, well, that's part of the thing is I almost would rather that the cantina was a restaurant where you could go sit at a table, have a meal, and like really take the environment in. I kind of felt like while it looked like a cantina, it's certainly not meant to be the Mos Eisley cantina. It looks like a Star Wars cantina. I agree with Dave. The drinks were way overpriced and not great, but whatever. I would almost have rather that there be, and this is probably a commentary on the entire park. There's not enough costume characters walking around. Like, there's no aliens in the cantina. There's also no band in the cantina. They have the DJ playing music, and it's the DJ Rex, who used to be the pilot of Star Tours. Like, I'm done with him. I've had enough of Pee Wee Herman doing that voice, and like I give them credit, I guess, for carrying that over from the original Star Tours, but like enough with that.
It's like Westworld. They just keep recycling.
Yeah, but so the cantina was fun.
Maybe eventually, when you don't need to like wait online to get in, it'll be sort of more just go in and hang out kind of thing.
It's a 2-drink maximum too, so there's nobody's hanging out in there a long time. So one of the first souvenirs that I'll show you that I brought back, and the second most expensive drink I've ever bought in a bar. I got the Yub Nub drink, which comes in a commemorative tiki glass, which has glyphs all over it that show the Battle of Endor.
Okay.
So this is a $45 cocktail that you get to keep the glass with.
Oh, God.
And I had a Jedi mind trick that comes in a commemorative glass that sort of resembles a lightsaber.
Commemorative in that...
Oh, you just take it when you're done with it.
Just like the menus. Right. You just take, or the coasters that I took home.
Did the glass actually come with that? The drink?
Well, for $15, it must have, right?
Clearly.
Yeah, mine was $45, and it actually came with the glass. Now, what I will say,
kind of cool.
Unlike what Dave did, I drank mine in this mug, and then they take the mug and they give you a boxed, clean one that's never been used as your souvenir.
Oh, they didn't give me a box for this.
Yeah, that's because they didn't give you that.
I had to put it in a bag.
I had to walk around with it in the front of my trousers for an hour.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, the cantina to me was I'm glad I went. I mean, I wasn't going to go there and not check out the cantina, but...
Yeah,
you know.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be cool if it had food and you could sit down, but I mean, the actual sitting area, there's like, 5 tables, 6 tables?
Yeah, not a lot of booths. And, I said it was the second most expensive drink only because at a dinner party for work, our CEO bought me a $45 or $60 glass of bourbon once, which I would have also never paid for. So this was the second most expensive drink I've ever had by
I've had an
far.
$85 Johnny Walker Blue, and I don't drink scotch at all.
Yeah.
But
So that was cool. One of the cheapest things I got, which is kind of cool, is a magnetic restraining bolt in the Droid factory.
Okay.
It's got a magnet in the back.
I didn't even see that. I would have bought that.
It's all plastic, although it looks like metal. It's kind of cool. It was $10, I think, and I liked that. What else did you get?
What else? Oh, I'll mention the soda bottles that
you're not supposed to take on your plane. Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. That ban lasted for like 3 days, right while we were coming home.
I think it's still in effect.
No, they lifted it.
Did they?
I read that they lifted it. Yeah, but.
So are you not supposed to bring like Christmas tree bulbs also? Because it looks as much like that as any grenade.
No,
that exists.
I think it's the cap more than anything. But I wasn't.
It is pretty cool. So this is a Diet Coke, and he's got a Coke that they literally licensed to look like a thermal detonator. with Coke writing, and it's the same as any Coke you'd get in the in any Disney park for like $4.50 or whatever it is, which is
ridiculous.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, and because of the literally the weekend that we were there was when the TSA banned these. I actually drove to the post office and mailed them home so that I could get them home.
I was going to do that, and I'm glad I did.
But I think the fact that you left out of San Francisco, they were probably not as familiar with them there as they were in.
Well, no. The funny
LA.
thing is, I had mine in my my check bag. Mark had his in his backpack. They flagged Mark for his lightsaber, and they called over a supervisor, and he's like, "Oh, is that a lightsaber from the new Galaxy's Edge? What'd you pay for that?" And I'm like, $200. He goes, okay, $200. Normally, I wouldn't let this thing through, but I'll let you go. And and I'm reading all about the alerts on the bottle. Meanwhile, we just walked through freaking X-ray with the bottle.
Let me ask you, with the bottle,
it.
so it's obviously not full, right? It's empty.
Yeah, we brought them home empty.
If you put the top in your shaving kit and stuff the bottle in your luggage, would anyone have an issue with it? It's just a bulb.
People said people were doing that and they were getting flagged. I don't know. It didn't last though, so it's over with.
Yeah, it's the power of Disney. Too many. They
exactly.
People are buying these things just to bring them home, and so they made them as souvenirs. They probably couldn't allow that to last. So.
Yeah. Other thing I got is the Yoda lamp from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
This is like the most impractical flashlight there is, but...
Yeah, and that was... there were two things on my list that I wanted to get when I was there. That was one of them, and they sold out of them. And the reason I say that I had a problem with them being in character was... The first night that we were there late in the evening, and I'm walking through there trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. So I went up to one of the guys in one of the shops and asked him, "I'm looking for Luke Skywalker's lamp. Do you know which shop it's in?" And his response to me was, "We've heard many a myth of this Luke Skywalker person. I'm not quite sure who that is, but no,
God.
I don't know anything about a lamp." And I was like, "Dude, can you just tell me where to find this? It's 10:30 at night and I'm trying to buy one." We went back the next day and I had found a picture of it online, and I was basically showing people, "I'm looking for this." And that's when they told me that they were sold out. But yeah, they were not breaking character.
That's interesting. Dave, anything else?
I don't know why I got this, but they were selling the Imperial rank bar thing that you could reconfigure to all the things. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I don't know what I'll do with it.
I got this T-shirt, which I was really kind of just wanted a Black Spire Outpost T-shirt, which is kind of cool. It's got the outline of the city. It's got the Falcon flying up, and it's got the name of the planet in Arabesh on the arm, which I didn't. There was a lot of Galaxy's Edge shirts that they sold outside of Galaxy's Edge. Everything in Galaxy's Edge is in continuity and in character. So, the toys aren't Hasbro action figures. They're, dolls that are made to look like a doll that Jyn Erso would have played with. Everything's in universe.
Yep. Yeah, I got two T-shirts. One I got at the Rebel stand, and it's like a gray T-shirt with the Rebel symbol, sort of looked like it, almost like it's spray painted on. And the woman's there's a story to this shirt. You see, we got this shipment of First Order shirts, and we ripped off the patch and spray painted the Rebel logo, and on the back it says join the First Order, and they sort of painted over that says Resistance or something, join the Resistance. So it's so I got that, and then she said, and if you happen to lean towards the First Order, they sell the original shirt at the other store. Oh, that's
funny.
And I got that shirt too that has this rubbery patch that they took off for the other thing. So that was
cool.
Kind of cool.
That's cool.
So the big purchase I made was in not the build your own lightsaber, but I got the Kylo Ren lightsaber. These are like Master Replicas quality sabers at half the cost. They're really detailed. They're heavy as heck. And this one comes with the two blades that go on the sides. And then you can buy the top blade separately if you want to. It's the same blade as the build your own saber, so I actually could put Joshua's. And actually, this is kind of cool. They put these caps in so that when you're not using the blade, it looks like it's properly capped. But
that's cool.
If I put the blade in, and it makes that sound when you put the blade in. And it lights up and it makes the sounds. I didn't put the side blades in, but this was one of the more expensive sabers that they sell. But I would say price-wise, you're getting a really good deal because it comes with the belt clip that for the other sabers they sell separately, and it comes with the side blades. So, and it comes
That's pretty good.
They all come in these really kind of impressive. Well, you can't see. I'm holding it up to a camera that's not there.
So I got to say,
really
I'm
impressive
kind of
boxes.
disappointed. I sent the two of you out to the West Coast with a simple mission, and both of you failed.
Yes, we did.
They said, I know you wanted the Rey/Luke saber, and I asked them, and they're like, that is the most popular saber, and they were sold out. I was hoping by the time Barry got there, they would have them in stock.
Well,
but they
I
didn't.
think that the ones that they had made, they sent to Orlando, because I think that they were available in Orlando that weekend, but not in California.
But we'll get someone to get you one of those.
Yeah. The other thing that I got was the stand. You can buy the stand separately, which is actually kind of a cool design because if you pull this part out, there's these pieces in here that you put on here, and those are what holds the saber. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
It looks. What's it made out of? Jello? Because that's what it looks like.
No, it's actually very heavy. It's made out of aluminum and steel.
Okay.
No. Oh, is it a little? How much was that? I didn't even think of buying one.
$25.
How much?
25.
105. Okay.
25.
For those of you listening at home, we are having a little problem hearing and seeing Barry this evening. It won't be indicative on your listening experience, but there's a little bandwidth issue. Okay, that's awesome though. It sounds
and I got the Luke Jedi version of the same thing, and it is cool that they sell it to you like this, but they give you the extra part to put. It has all the electronics if you wanted to get a blade and put it in.
That's cool.
So that's actually a good deal. Yeah. But
these sabers are
people we could ask to find yours.
Literally half the price of like what Master Replicas were.
That's good. Well, you got to think there's a whole lot of mass production going on here. So
absolutely.
Any last kind of wrap up thoughts on the experience from both of you?
Did you have the blue milk? I didn't enjoy it.
I didn't have a chance to get it. We kept meaning to do it, and then we realized we forgot. So that'll be it next time.
It's like a Slurpee, like a blue milky, fruity Slurpee. It wasn't that good.
Okay, I will not try that. Thank you. That's good.
It's worth going to. Obviously, it's definitely very immersive. Not only that, if you're going, you have all of Disneyland, or Disney World to see. So it's not like you have to pay a separate fee to go there. But they did a nice job, and I'm looking forward to seeing it when they open more stuff. And the hotels that are coming are supposedly like a starship. Which
sounds like we need a group trip. So.
Yeah, I mean, my two comments. One is that I just wish there were more costumed characters in the park. Like, there was basically Kylo Ren, Stormtroopers, Rey, Chewbacca, and a First Order officer, and occasionally a Rebel spy running through that people chased.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
That, and my prediction is that within a few years, they are going to retrofit this Falcon ride and make it more original trilogy or more Rey and Chewie or something, because I just don't think
I would bet
these
you're
characters
see
work.
Things here after this next film that you're not seeing right now. I bet there's some stuff held back.
I just don't think a ride based off of things that happen in Clone Wars and Solo is a smart move at this point.
Well, again, it's I'm not sure that makes a big difference, but yeah.
It does when you wait online an hour to get into something, and the big payoff is there's an animatronic Hondo Anaka.
Right, but I'm saying if those were completely made up characters, I think for a lot of the people it would not make a difference. So
I think most people are going to think they are made up characters because they don't know who it is.
They're essentially an Easter egg. Makes it interesting to people like us, but I think the majority of people just think it's a cool or interesting alien.
I would like to go when I'm not, I hate to say the words, tied down by my family.
Encumbered.
Because there's a lot of little corners I would like to have investigated that I just knew I couldn't.
Again,
like by the water fountain.
I think we need to plan a group trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so
by the
Dave,
water
here-
fountain, you could, randomly, like the monster from the trash compactor pops his head up and out. Like there's just little things like that.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to get
in
to
the
that
store,
either.
they had a baby sarlacc pit that you could actually see. I mean, it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah. So Dave, just one
Todd, what do you have to say?
one last question for you. How does this? This is the question I've been dying to ask. How does this stack up against the Star Trek experience? you did go to that, right?
Yeah, the one in Ticonderoga.
No, Vegas.
No, you're saying the one in Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. Honestly, they did it really well.
There's been a number of
That was-
articles referencing that, saying that in some ways this
Yes.
is kind of a template. That was kind of a template for this.
They did a good job with that because it wasn't a ride, but the experience was really good, and the Quark's bar was really
Yep.
good. This is a little more involved and bigger, but they did a really nice job with that in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
So
One other thing I'll add just about Disneyland in general. Did you go on Star Tours while you were there, Dave?
I did.
They've added stuff to Star Tours since the last time I saw it. So they actually had stuff from Episode 8 in Star Tours. I don't know if you saw any of that, but
Oh, really?
yeah.
I didn't. I had Hoth when I went,
Okay.
but
Cool.
it was good. But Todd, you did a Star Wars thing also.
Kind of a Star
over
Wars
the
related
past
thing.
week or so.
I have over the years gone to Tanglewood and seen, which is an outdoor music venue not far from where I live. And over the years, I've seen John Williams perform there several times, conducting the Boston Symphony Orchestra. And he's done this at one point or another for nearly 40 years. He's I think his 39th year doing it in some capacity. Because obviously, because of his age, other people have taken over the primary conducting duties. But this is something that's very, very near to him. One of the things that he's participated in annually is a movie night where they do music from films, and they focus on a particular composer of film music and then highlight their music. And so I've been to one of those before, and it's very, very interesting. This year was extremely special because John Williams introduced and then at the end conducted a kind of an overview of his own music, which was not not what these things have been, and it was incredible. I got to say, to see him on stage
So
in front.
was the other part not his music?
What's that? No, I'm saying the other one
Was
in the past.
Yeah, okay.
This is a series he started. They've been retrospectives of other film music. Okay, so this year the tribute is to his music, and I learned a lot of really interesting things. And one of them is that he's actually responsible for reintroducing the 20th Century Fox fanfare. And because at the beginning of Star Wars, it was his suggestion to add that back in when that was originally aired in 77. And it had not been used for a number of years because kind of more tour directors wanted their films to just start with a silent kind of intro. And but he felt it was like a throwback thing. This majority of the music for the evening was conducted by David Newman, whose father, Alfred Newman, actually wrote the 20th Century Fox fanfare.
Oh, wow,
So
that's
Alfred
cool.
Newman is the most celebrated film composer there is. He's got over 10 Oscars, and he passed away many years ago. But John Williams himself has 5, and so he's one of the few people that make John Williams look like a slouch. But it was fantastic. There was a long E.T. set, Jurassic Park, and what they do for a number of these films is they would lower a screen and you would see a montage of corresponding clips. And the E.T. was phenomenal because he showed the entire opening sequence, which has no dialogue, and basically E.T. being marooned, and you get the sense of how significant that music is when you see that. And the conductor said that he had many times watched that opening sequence without any music. And he said it's one of the most profound examples of where music, establishes everything. We don't think about this because, again, it's been years since a lot of us saw E.T., but our relationship to that character is entirely established by what's conveyed by that music, because he's in the bushes the whole time. So we feel sympathy and then fear and all these other things, and it's all conveyed by that music. It's absolutely brilliant. They also did an extended section from The Cowboys, which was a 1969 film, a John Wayne film, and which he did a long Raiders piece. And then,
nice.
But what was most incredible for me, at the end, he came out himself and conducted 3 suites from the original Star Wars, and as well as an introductory piece from Episode 9. And he said the following day he was leaving to go back to California because he had turned in, and he said J.J. Abrams is a wonderful man, and he says, and he has promised him that this will be the last Star Wars film that they call on him to write for. And he said, but he's submitted over 100 minutes of music so far, and JJ is looking for 45 additional minutes.
Really?
So,
wow.
So what a lot of that probably is
said that?
Scenes have been lengthened or shortened or something like that, and no one wants to mess with John Williams' stuff, so they're re-recording to make adjustments. But still, so I don't think we're going to have 145 minutes of scored music, but
I hope we have a 3-hour movie.
But that's pretty amazing that this was the last week in August, and they were still scoring.
Well, that's usually the last. The picture's got to be completely done before they could score.
Anyways, it was amazing. I've seen a lot of interviews with him. He's just as engaging in person. The way the setup was, you really couldn't, I mean, we were maybe 50, 60 feet away, but you couldn't get close enough to shake his hand or anything like that because he was on stage the whole time. But really, really great. One of those probably once in a lifetime experiences. And it was just phenomenal. And again, he exudes joy and love for this stuff like you can't imagine. And it's one of the things that, we look back at, I always say that original Star Wars is my favorite Star Wars. It is Star Wars to me. That's part of this almost perfect storm of things that came together to make that film amazing. That they got John Williams to do that film. And all these other things just happened, magically and came together. To see him up there doing Darth Vader's theme and doing, all these different things like this and thinking that, this is such a part of our experience of this film. It's really amazing. And
he was doing that same show at the Hollywood Bowl for 2 nights.
Yes.
After I went to Anaheim. So it was if we had been in LA at that point, we would have bought tickets and gone to see it.
Yeah. This is done with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and I'm not sure what the orchestra out there that they do it with is, but again, for his summers, he spends a portion of his summer out in Tanglewood every year, which is really, really cool. So, anyways,
that sounds awesome.
It was terrific, and it tempered my envy of you guys just a little bit having the chance to have seen this. So, but
you can always go to Galaxy's Edge. That is, like you said, that is a once in a lifetime.
Really, again, I think I may have seen 3 of these things in the past, and it's a lot of musical music and stuff like this. And I've been there the whole time thinking, please just do something from Star Wars. And as I've watched him conduct, and that's going back to probably the 80s, but to see him on stage, to have his music showcased was absolutely amazing. So really, really good.
Awesome.
So. That's very cool. Okie dokie. I think it's time to pull the plug on this while we're almost hanging on by a thread. Here.
Can you not hear me?
Barely.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Barry, if you have any last thoughts, keep them to
No,
yourself.
I really have a good one. I had a really good last thought, too.
Give it a try.
All right, I'm going to give it a try. So in Disneyland, I think it's Fantasyland, they have something called Path of the Jedi. Did you do this, Dave?
I saw it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, good. It's been there since before Episode 8 came out, clearly, because it's like a 13-minute edited bit of all the movies together, which ends with the trailer for Last Jedi. But it's introduced by Rian Johnson, who goes on to talk about how great the movie's going to be, and then he says, and maybe we'll learn a little bit about what Luke Skywalker's been doing all this time. And I sit in there going, no, you don't. You don't learn a damn thing about what Luke Skywalker's been doing.
That's funny. That is
So
funny.
yeah,
I saw that in Florida. It was when I was there last time.
Yeah.
So
What is
So
the
that was-
release
Don't
date
go.
of Episode 9?
December 20th.
the 20th.
Okay.
December 20th.
Okay. So let's propose a moratorium from September 20th to December 20th. We do not evoke the name of the last film. Can we do that? Just kind of cleanse
We can
the
try.
palate. Just let it go and help with our positive attitude and just it's like basically in the same zone when we're going to stop, or at least I'm going to stop looking at information and reading stuff about the film. We just let it go. Just
I try not to look at anything anyway.
All right,
I was
clean-
hesitant even to
clean
look at this
palate.
thing, but
yeah. So
Clean palate.
fair enough. Fair
Okay.
enough. All right. Let us know if you've gone to Galaxy's Edge or any of that. Let us know what you think. If you've seen the teaser, let us know what you think. If you've seen John Williams, let us know your experience. Happy to hear about all that stuff. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
thanks for listening.